Regret is one of the most seductive lies you will ever encounter. It doesn't come in loud and obvious ways. It shows up subtly. It creeps into your thoughts late at night. It sits heavy on your chest in the middle of the day, and it whispers things that sound almost true. But here's the reality. Regret is a liar, and its most dangerous lie is this. It tries to convince you that your past defines your identity. It takes the worst version of your story and calls it your name. But let me tell you something. Your past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. You are not what you did. You are not what happened to you. You are who you were created to become, and that truth cannot be undone by any mistake you've made. When regret becomes the lens through which you see yourself, it clouds your vision. You stop seeing your potential and start fixating on what you missed, what you lost, or what you should have done differently. It locks you in a mental prison where you replay moments, rehearse pain, and reinforce a false identity. And here's the trick. As long as you believe the lie that you are your mistake, you'll live beneath your purpose. You'll settle for survival when you were designed for significance. Regret has a way of magnifying moments while minimizing growth. It wants to freeze you in time and ignore the transformation that's been happening within you. But you've grown since then. You've changed. You're not the same person who made those choices. And if you're honest, some of the things you regret are the very things that opened your eyes, made you wiser, deepened your compassion, and positioned you for the very purpose you're now being called into. So it's time to stop rehearsing the wrong story. You don't need to rewrite the past. You need to redeem it, and redemption doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It means you stop allowing it to define your future. Because here's the truth, the thing you think disqualified you may actually be the thing that qualifies you. The pain you went through can become the platform you speak from. The lesson you learned can become the light someone else needs. Regret wants to keep you stuck in shame. Purpose says, use it. Don't waste it. Transform it. You can't move forward if you're dragging the weight of regret behind you. It's like trying to run a race with chains on your ankles. You're expending energy but going nowhere. And sometimes letting go of regret is not about forgetting. It's about forgiving yourself, forgiving others, forgiving life for not turning out how you expected. Because forgiveness doesn't change the past, but it unlocks your future. It breaks the chain. It releases the weight. It sets you free. What's ahead of you is far greater than what's behind you, but you have to believe that. You have to believe that your purpose didn't get erased because of your past. It got shaped by it. Every misstep, every failure, every delay, it all becomes part of the blueprint when you stop regretting and start redeeming. Letting go of regret isn't easy, but it is necessary because you can't build a future on broken beliefs, and the belief that your past disqualifies you is broken. Destroy it. Replace it with truth. Your identity is not tied to where you've been, but to where you're going. And what lies ahead requires you to show up whole, free, and focused. Not stuck, ashamed, or silent. Let go, not just for peace, but for purpose. You can't rewrite the past, but you can redeem it. That truth right there is the turning point for so many people who feel trapped by what they've done, what they didn't do, or what they allowed. Regret wants you to live with a pen in your hand, constantly trying to revise yesterday's chapter, as if you could just rewrite that one moment, you could finally be free. But life doesn't give us a backspace key. What it gives us, if we're willing to receive it, is redemption, and redemption is far more powerful than revision. See, rewriting the past is about erasing what went wrong. Redeeming the past is about transforming it into something right. It's the difference between wishing something never happened and deciding that, even though it did, it won't define you. It will develop you. That's the power of redemption. It doesn't ignore the pain. It doesn't pretend the mistake didn't hurt. It acknowledges it and then puts it to work. What tried to break you becomes what builds you. What embarrassed you becomes what educates you. What was meant for harm becomes a seed for healing, not just for you, but for the people you're called to impact. Regret says, if only. Redemption says, even now. Regret looks backward with guilt. Redemption looks forward with grace. The truth is, everyone has something they wish they could change. But here's what makes the difference. Some people stay stuck in shame, and others make a decision to turn their pain into power. You don't need a time machine, you need a shift in perspective, because what if your greatest mistake wasn't the end of your story, but the setup for your mission? So many people disqualify themselves because of something they did 5, 10, 20 years ago. They say, I blew it, and believe that means they're done. But no, that mistake didn't cancel your calling. It might have made the road harder, but it didn't close the door. If you're still breathing, your purpose is still alive, and the very thing you think should take you out could be the thing God uses to raise you up. That's redemption. That's when the mess becomes the message. That's when your testimony is no longer about perfection. It's about perseverance, and that's not just for you. Somebody else is waiting on the other side of your redemption. Somebody else needs to hear how you fell and got back up. Because you're not just a product of success. You're a living story of recovery. You become a walking example that failure is not final, that brokenness is not the end, that God can still bring beauty from ashes if you stop trying to rewrite what's over and start redeeming what's possible. Letting go of regret is not passive. It's an act of courage. It's choosing to say, yes, I failed. Yes, I missed the mark. But that's not where my story ends. It's looking at the wound and deciding it won't stay open forever. It's letting the scar speak louder than the shame. And it's realizing that the worst chapters of your life can become the most powerful parts of your purpose if you let them. You can't go back. You don't need to. The power isn't in going back. It's in going forward with wisdom. It's in taking what tried to bury you and using it as foundation. It's in refusing to be defined by the regret and instead being refined by it. Redemption isn't a second chance to do the same thing. It's a new chance to become someone better, and that chance is still available right now. You just have to stop trying to erase your past and start allowing it to elevate your future. Your mistakes didn't disqualify you, they qualified you. That's not just a nice sounding phrase, it's a truth that can completely shift the way you view your life. The world tells you that if you mess up, you're out. That your failures mark the end of your worth. But purpose doesn't operate on the world's system. Purpose takes what looked like a setback and turns it into a setup. Your past isn't proof that you're unworthy, it's proof that you're ready. We live in a culture that worships perfection and punishes failure. But the irony is, the most powerful people you'll ever meet are not the ones who have never fallen. They're the ones who fell hard and got back up with more wisdom, more strength, and more fire in their soul. Because when you've been through something, when you've made mistakes, when you've faced consequences, when you've tasted the bitterness of regret, something shifts in you. You stop pretending, you start transforming. Every failure has a lesson embedded in it, and if you listen closely, that lesson will equip you with something you couldn't have learned any other way. That's what qualification looks like. It's not about being spotless. It's about being seasoned. It's about being shaped, humbled, tested, and still standing. Some of the most impactful voices aren't the cleanest. They're the clearest because they speak from experience. They speak from wounds that have healed. They speak from trials that taught them who they really are. And maybe you've told yourself that because of what you did, you don't deserve another chance. But let me ask you, who told you that? Where did that voice come from? Because I promise you, it didn't come from the one who called you. See, your calling isn't fragile. It wasn't dependent on you getting everything right. It was placed on you before you made the mistake, and it remains after. The problem is, too many people sit on the sidelines of life, waiting to feel worthy again, not realizing they're already equipped through every failure to lead, to speak, to build, to love, to serve. You have scars, but those scars are evidence that you healed, that you came through what was meant to break you, and because of that, you carry something more valuable than perfection. You carry perspective. You can see clearer now, you can empathize deeper, you can connect more authentically. That's not disqualification, that's divine preparation. And here's what's real: some of the things you regret the most, the moments you wish you could erase, are the exact moments that built your character. They stripped away the illusion, they humbled your pride, they forced you to grow, they taught you how to fight, not just for success, but for your soul. That fight developed strength you couldn't have accessed any other way. So stop looking at your past as a stain and start seeing it as a seed. What felt like dirt was actually planting, and now it's time to grow from it. This journey you're on, it's not about earning your way back into worthiness. It's about realizing you never lost it. Mistakes don't change your value, they change your vision, and that new vision will carry you further than a perfect record ever could. Don't let shame silence you. Your story still speaks. Your gifts still work. Your assignment still stands. The moment you decide to stop disqualifying yourself is the moment you start walking in the authority that's been waiting on you. You've got what it takes, not because you've never failed, but because you have, and you lived through it. You learned from it, and now you're ready to lead from it. If you don't let go, you stay stuck. That's the brutal truth. Regret may feel familiar, even comforting in a twisted way, but it is not your friend. It's a weight. And no matter how strong you think you are, you cannot move forward carrying what you refuse to release. Holding on to regret is like trying to drive a car while looking only in the rear-view mirror. You end up swerving through life, missing opportunities, delaying purpose, and crashing into cycles you were meant to outgrow. See, letting go doesn't mean pretending it didn't matter. It doesn't mean the pain didn't hurt or the choice wasn't wrong. It means you've made a conscious decision not to let it control the rest of your life. That's power, that's freedom, because the moment you release what's been holding you, you create space to receive what's been waiting for you. And some of us haven't stepped into our next season, not because the opportunity isn't there, but because our hands are still full of old pain, old guilt, old stories. You have to understand this. You can't conquer the future while clinging to the past. And some of us have become so emotionally attached to our regret that it's become part of our identity. We keep talking about what we could have done, should have said, might have been, but regret is a loop, and if you don't interrupt that loop, it will play forever. You'll wake up years from now realizing you've been rehearsing the same story, stuck in the same chapter, while the rest of your life was waiting for permission to begin. The reason so many people never walk in the fullness of their calling isn't because they're not gifted, it's because they never let go. They've made progress, sure, but they're dragging something behind them. And that drag slows you down, it exhausts you. That's why you can work hard and still feel empty. It's not just about what you're doing. It's about what you're carrying while you do it. And sometimes letting go doesn't mean understanding why it happened. It doesn't mean the closure will come in the way you want it. Letting go is not about the other person. It's about you. It's about no longer giving power to a moment that's already over. It's about deciding that your destiny is worth more than your resentment, that your future is more valuable than your frustration. It's about peace over punishment. It takes courage to let go, because for some of us, regret has become a shield. We use it to protect ourselves from future pain. We think, if I keep remembering what went wrong, I won't let it happen again. But that's not wisdom. That's fear wearing wisdom's clothes. True wisdom is learning, applying, and releasing. Fear is remembering, replaying, and remaining stuck. And here's the truth. You will never change the past, but you can change what it does to you. You can stop letting it rob you of joy. You can stop letting it keep you silent. You can stop letting it convince you that you're too late, too broken, too far gone. You are not beyond repair, you are not beyond restoration, you are not beyond redemption, but none of that happens until you decide, really decide, to let go, to stop dragging the regret like a badge of punishment. To take the lessons, leave the shame, and move forward. Your story isn't stuck. You are, and the key isn't waiting to be handed to you. It's already in your hand. The release is yours to make, so do it. Let go, not because what happened didn't matter, but because you do. Let go so you can live. Let go so you can grow. Let go so you can finally go where you were always meant to be. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks freedom. Without it, you may move on physically, but you'll remain bound emotionally and spiritually. And when it comes to regret, the hardest person to forgive is often the one staring back at you in the mirror. We can say we've let things go, but deep down, we still carry the weight of what we did, what we allowed, or what we failed to do. We live our lives as though we owe a debt we can never repay, chained to a sentence that's already been served. But here's the truth. You cannot fully walk into your purpose if you're still punishing yourself for your past. Forgiveness isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's not denial. It's release. It's not about forgetting. It's about choosing not to live in bondage to what's already behind you. Regret keeps the wound open. Forgiveness allows it to heal. Some of us have mastered the art of moving forward on the outside while staying stuck on the inside. We're building, serving, leading, but carrying silent guilt. We call it being responsible, but it's really a quiet form of self-punishment, and no matter how many goals you achieve, no matter how much progress you make, if you haven't forgiven yourself, you'll sabotage your success. You'll feel like an imposter in your own life, because no matter what you build, part of you still believes you don't deserve it. Forgiveness is not a feeling, it's a decision, and that decision isn't always one you make once. Sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's moment by moment. It's the repeated act of releasing what you cannot change and embracing what you still have the power to create. And the deeper the regret, the more powerful the freedom when you finally let it go. But forgiveness isn't just about you. It's also about the people who hurt you, the ones who disappointed you, the ones who made decisions that impacted your life in ways they'll never understand. Holding on to that pain might feel like power, but it's really poison. It doesn't protect you, it imprisons you. Bitterness isn't justice, it's bondage, and just like self-forgiveness, forgiving others doesn't mean what they did was right. It means you're refusing to let their actions have authority over your life any longer. Because here's what's real. Every time you hold on to unforgiveness, whether toward yourself or someone else, you're giving your past permission to define your future. You're letting the pain speak louder than the promise. You're choosing to relive what broke you rather than reclaim what's still possible, and you deserve better than that. Your calling is bigger than your pain. Your future is too important to be held hostage by yesterday. Forgiveness is how you take your power back. It's how you close the door on shame. It's how you silence regret and awaken purpose. It's not about pretending the fall never happened. It's about choosing to get up without the weight of what knocked you down. It's about recognizing that while you may not be able to change the consequences of your choices, you can change the direction of your life. And that begins the moment you choose freedom over guilt, growth over resentment, and healing over history. You don't have to wait for someone to say sorry. You don't have to wait to feel ready. The invitation to forgive is already on the table. And accepting it doesn't just change how you see the past, it changes how you step into the future. Lighter, freer, clearer. When you forgive, you're no longer carrying what was never meant to be permanent. You're making room for what comes next, and what's next for you. It's more than recovery, it's redemption. It's clarity, it's purpose. But you'll never fully access it until you let go of the chains. And the key, it's always been forgiveness. Regret doesn't just try to trap you in the past, it tries to rob you of the present. And one of the greatest tragedies in life is not missing an opportunity, but missing your life while mourning what you can't go back and fix. Living in regret creates a mental fog that keeps you from seeing the beauty, the blessings, and the breakthroughs happening right now. You're physically present, but emotionally absent. You're in the room, but your mind is in the past. And as long as you stay there, you'll miss what's unfolding in front of you. But here's the truth. Today is not yesterday. And the moment you start treating today like it matters just as much, if not more, than what went wrong back then, everything changes. Because this moment is not just a continuation of your past. It's a fresh opportunity, a divine reset. Regret wants to convince you that you're stuck in a script you can't change, but that's a lie. You may not be able to rewrite chapter 1, but you're still the author of chapter 10. And what you do now, how you show up, how you think, how you believe, determines what kind of story you live from here on out. You can't experience peace while being at war with yourself. You can't build a future while blaming yourself for the past. At some point, you have to plant your feet in the now and declare that this is the moment you start living again, not existing, living, and living begins with presence. It begins with choosing to be fully engaged in this moment, this day, this opportunity, regardless of what's happened before. Some people keep waiting for life to start after they've fixed everything. But life is not waiting on your perfection. It's waiting on your permission. Your permission to be joyful even if you're still healing. Your permission to receive love even if you've made mistakes. Your permission to walk in purpose even if the path behind you was messy. This is where transformation happens. Not when everything's ideal, but when you stop disqualifying yourself from what's already available to you. And here's what's powerful. When you become present, regret loses its grip. Because regret thrives in what was, but purpose thrives in what is. Your ability to seize this moment is what separates those who merely survive from those who truly live. And living doesn't mean everything's perfect. It means you've decided that your past doesn't get to keep you numb, indifferent, or distracted. It means you choose connection over isolation, purpose over pain, growth over guilt. This moment, right here, is sacred, and the more you show up for it, the more your life begins to shift. You'll start to see the open doors you used to overlook. You'll start to attract opportunities that align with your growth. You'll begin to feel peace. Not because the past is erased, but because it no longer holds you hostage. The future you want is not somewhere far off. It starts with what you do with now, and now is powerful. Now is redemptive. Now is where you decide. You decide to let go, forgive, and move forward. You decide to stop mourning missed chances and start creating new ones. You decide to stop waiting for someday and step fully into today. Because this moment has purpose. This moment has potential, and this moment is yours to claim. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be present enough to say yes to what's next. Regret may have stolen enough of your time. But now it's your time, so live like it, love like it, lead like it. Your life didn't end back there. It begins right here.